Bob, why don't you pull the picture up on your phone and bring here?
By the way, we're live. So your mic correct. What is going on, everybody? How you doing? It is your boy. It's the Birdman. This is the Birdman Show. You already know what we do. So if you know what to do, go ahead and do it with me. That is right. We are here on the Birdman Show for another episode. I'm excited about this episode. Ready to get it started. Definitely got it first. First of all, I got to thank everybody for showing up. Join us here live on TikTok. TikTok fam, you guys doing great. We're at 1.4K. Let's bump that on up to 3K by 15 after. Let's see if y'all can top that one. And then, of course, our YouTube fam and Twitch fam that is watching us live here for the Birdman Show. Well, let's do this first. Let's introduce everybody, make sure everybody gets reacquainted. Right there below me is my main man, Shane. Shane, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about y'all?
Man, it's another beautiful day in paradise. Another beautiful day in paradise.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hey, so how the heck you doing?
Shit. I had to make an impromptu trip today. Just got back, so I am still acclimating myself to get ready to do this bitch.
Righty-roo. And then of course we are joined by the sickly but still lovely Angel. How the heck you doing?
I'm doing. I'm here.
I'm Darren. I'm here.
I'm here.
Hey,
I want to call in
I
sick,
play-
but you wouldn't let me.
Nah. I don't play that right here.
Yeah.
Oh, you gonna put that work in. You gonna put that work in. Yeah, so yeah, we're here and I just need some clarification. Because this episode we're gonna be talking about Shannon Wentzel. Now, is it with an N?
Yeah, it's Wentzel.
Oh, okay. So it's Wentzel.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I want to make sure because I was trying to find something and it was coming up with something else, and I was like, "Who the freak is this?" So what? You about to say something?
It's more difficult to find things because it was before everybody put everything on the internet.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I found quite a bit of stuff that really wasn't on the internet, but people have updated. They've put out information, and so yeah, it's crazy. Nicholas, how you doing? I see Mama Bear's in the house over here on TikTok. Like I said, let us know that you're in here. Let us know where you're watching us from. Let us know how your day was, TikTok. Um, so that's what we're doing this episode on. We're doing this episode on Shannon Wentzel, like I said. And I see Carrie, aka Fury Storm, over here on the YouTube channel, watching us over here. So great seeing you. Hopefully you got everything moved into the new place and you're settling in. She was going through trying time there. That stuff was straight crazy. But hopefully everything's good and she's good to go. But looking forward to what's that episode? No, is it which episode is that? Is it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so next week we got a You Be the Judge. So I'm really ready to get back into that. It's a very fun series. If you haven't seen it, first of all, go back. First of all, go to our YouTube channel, like the page, okay? Subscribe to the page, okay? And hit those notification bell. Hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything with the Birdman Show. Let's get through that back and forth. My setup is a little weird. I've added some things, and so I'm trying to work everything out, all the logistics of it. Anyways, meanwhile, back at the ranch, we are here to talk about Shannon Wentzel. Now, like I alluded to TikTok, I'm gonna let everybody know here on Twitch and YouTube. This was a topic that was brought to us by Angel, which is the only reason why she's here. You know good well I can't not mess with you. I just can't. We have built that friendship, that relationship to where that is just going to be impossible for me to not do. Okay. You're like one of my other adopted sisters I have. Every time I see her, we are going at each other's throat. But I love her immensely, and I feel the same way towards you. So, number one, never take anything I say to heart. I know you don't. Because I think we're pretty much on the same wavelength. Well, maybe not the same wavelength, but somewhere in the vicinity of the world. Anyways, we're around there somewhere. But anyways, this was a topic you brought to us. Why don't you first tell us why is it that this topic was something you felt like would be good for the Birdman Show? Sometime today.
You need to quit being mean to me. Number one. So Shannon was actually my babysitter. When I say my babysitter, I mean for my kids. She was 15. I was 23. So there wasn't a huge age gap. She was a really good kid, really sweet. And this was back before everybody had a cell phone or social media. So she was pretty open about everything. She didn't talk about going out and partying, stuff like that. She had a boyfriend. She babysat for us when we needed her to. That was, normal kid. She also had just recently gotten a potbelly pig. That was like this little tiny potbelly pig. And after she was killed, we ended up with it.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing me back and making that relevant. I had no idea where you were going with that.
I was going with that because it
so I really
ate
did
my
not know.
house. It ain't my house. So before we get started, I'm going to show you her yearbook picture from that year.
Angel.
What?
Angel.
Wait,
What?
wait. So you mean to tell me you said the pig ate you out of your house? Wait,
What?
It's,
Say it again. Say it again.
so you're basically telling me the pig ate you out of your house? Is that what you're saying?
It ate the house.
It ate you out of house and home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It ate the carpet, it ate the sofa, it ate a bunch of stuff. Anyways,
Well, then
Tried
why
to
did
eat
you
one
go
of the
ahead and
kids.
marry him?
I was already married to that pig. Hi, Itsy.
Oh God, I'm just playing. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So let me go ahead and pull that up for you.
Did you get it?
But Angel,
Wait, where'd it go?
here, give me just a second. Pardon me. You got to mute.
Before I let him go, you need to pull that back up so that way I can actually pull that in.
Huh?
You said the picture, her yearbook picture.
I got it in my hand.
Why didn't you just leave it where it was at so I could pull it up?
It was where it was at. I didn't touch it.
It's not on the it's not in the studio anymore, is what I'm saying. So you must have exited out of it.
Share it.
Just Ace, go ahead.
Before we get started, we always like to give everybody a disclaimer.
Yes, thank you.
This is going to be a very graphic topic tonight. Angel had called me earlier. No, she messaged me first asking if she needed to mute her microphone on TikTok because she was afraid that she would get nannered because of how graphic this story is. So if anybody has triggers that involve SA, severe physical assault, and murder. I mean, if you have an issue with murder, why are you watching the Birdman show? But besides that, if you have any issues with those, we don't know when those topics are going to be brought up, so we're letting you know now. We're not going to be offended if you decide not to continue listening. You can always go back and watch the replay, and whenever it gets to a part that you're uncomfortable with, you can always fast forward through that. But we do have to give a disclaimer. And Angel, unalived, not killed, unalived.
Yeah, good luck with trying to get me to get all this right.
That's the only one I'm telling you right now is use unalived.
Yeah, and to explain that to YouTube, I don't think I've ever explained it to YouTube or Twitch why we do that. That's something that it's a big, well, it's an issue for TikTok. There's certain words they just don't want us saying. So to avoid there being an issue, so that way our TikTok family can be able to watch and enjoy the podcast as well. Until we get some other things figured out, we kind of stay away from certain words. So just let everybody know that's the reason why we say on the live and some other things. There'll be some other words will probably change as well. Okay, so Angel, why don't you start walking us through this story?
I also brought it up because you don't know people that you think you know. One of the offenders in here is her boyfriend. So you don't know. You just don't know. I'm going to show the picture because I'm not technology. Okay. So this is the last yearbook picture you took. See how young she is? This is 1995. 15-year-old, not today's 15-year-old, and very young, very sweet. Okay, so as I was friends with her family, I'm going to start with what I know personally was this. They used to go to this coffee shop over by McDonald's, and they were hanging out at said coffee shop. She didn't feel so hot, so she thought, you know what? He's over there. I'm going to ask him to give me a ride home. She calls mom. She says, Mom, he's going to give me a ride home. I'll be home in a little bit. I don't feel so hot. That's how it starts. So there was Kelly Craig. He was 16. There was James Brian Powell. He uses all three names. Go figure. He was 24, the oldest of them. And then Leon Jones, 21. Leon was supposedly visiting from Detroit. He was a gangbanger up there, big badass, so to speak. He was down for visiting them. She had never met them before. Had never met him before. So he's driving the vehicle, and she gets in. She's like, "Hey, thanks for taking me home." But instead of taking her home, I got a map somewheres. All right. Timothy. I'm going to try to share
There we
this.
Okay.
Here it comes, I think. Let me know if it works. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is where they were, right here. And they drove her all the way up here.
If
And
you
said
click
they
on
were.
that, it should zoom in.
Can I zoom in? Yeah, that didn't work. So they're here. That worked, didn't it?
Nope.
You're
Okay, so
struggling.
anyways, they took her 2 counties over. And they were going drive. They were going to go driving. This is. Can you see this next picture or not? Do I have to click it again? We're learning. Can you see that?
I'm assuming you're gonna click it again. Because I don't see. All we see is the map.
This is Mr. Jones at the time of the hearing. Can you see
Yes,
that?
we're trying to figure things
Okay.
out.
This is him at the time of the hearing. So he's the middle one. He's the only one I could find a image of, because evidently they don't give when they put them on the website as being incarcerated, they don't always have their pictures. So I don't have images of the other ones. So on the trip out there, she's again saying how she doesn't feel good and that she would rather go home. And he is telling the other two, when we get to where we're going, I'm going to essay her. I was trying to think of the words.
Mm-hmm.
And
or we'll get you a cue card next time.
yeah, the youngest one, Kelly, used to be her boyfriend. Like, they had recently split up. He was like, man, that's not cool. So they go on, and I'm going to read.
So wait. Time out. So
Yep.
it's her and 2 other guys, right?
3.
3 other guys.
Yep.
One of them she used to date.
Yep. They had recently.
Okay. Yeah. Make sure I'm there.
So the accounts of the story vary a little bit by each person that tells it in their court documents. Um, to lessen their degree of what they did, I'm going to read what her ex-boyfriend, says happened. Okay. And then I'm going to add the things that he left out that her mother told me. Okay. So on December 9th, 1995, am I echoing? Yes?
A little bit.
Not on
Am
my
I,
end.
am I echoing now?
No.
Okay. On December 9th, 1995, Craig, Brian Prowl, and Leon Jones drove to a McDonald's where they met Shannon, with whom Craig had had a previous relationship. Craig asked Powell if they could give her a ride home, and Powell agreed, and the group eventually left the McDonald's. Um, Craig invited Wentzel to hang out with them until she had to go home. That never happened, but it's in the court document. So he's got some perjury going on there. The group went four-wheeling through rural areas in Pike County. During this trip, Jones, who was the one visiting from Detroit, told her that he was going to have relations, thank you, Bob, with her. And she responded, no, I don't think so. The group eventually, huh?
You're fine.
Can they hear me on TikTok?
Yes, that's what I'm listening to.
Okay. You distracted me. The group eventually stopped along the road so that Powell could urinate, and everyone exited the truck. When Powell returned to the group, Jones had struck Wentzel in the head. You'll later find out that the weapon of choice was a glass beer bottle. When Powell returned to the group, Jones struck Wentzel in the head. Jones then started kicking her, and Craig joined in the attack. Jones then struck her with a beer bottle. Jones then had relations through both doors with his body in the bottle. This girl's 15 years old.
And how old were they? How old were the boys?
The one from Detroit was 21. James Powell was 24, and Kelly Craig was 16.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there so that we can kind of gather your thoughts there. I just want to say something before we start getting deeper into this. This case is a perfect example of something I've been saying for a better part of about 12 years now. And that's that the thing I have is a simple message to parents. We need to start being more mindful and taking better care of our kids. I'm not saying that you guys out there that or anything like this. What I'm saying is there's too many stories like this. And a lot of it's because as parents, we tend to want to give our kids a little bit more free reign than what they actually should have. Um, and and to go back to simply what something Angel said right before we started the podcast was, you never know who you're dealing with. Every single person has the ability to be a good person. Every single person has the ability to be a bad person. The problem is we don't know which ones they are. As parents, we like to say we have that parental intuition and we know who the bad ones are, but there's been plenty of times as parents, I'm pretty sure we said somebody was bad and they turned out to be really good. When you said somebody was really good, they turn out to be really freaking bad. You don't know. I'm not saying shelter your kids, but what I'm saying is there needs to be a hell of a lot more restrictions, and your kids should not be just running around the streets doing whatever the heck they want to do. Give them that time to be able to develop, guide them along the way, and help them to understand truly the evil that is actually out there in the world. Because just because it doesn't happen in your town or it hasn't happened to anybody you know, doesn't mean this stuff is not going on. Doesn't mean this cannot happen in your town. Does not mean this cannot happen to your child. And guess what? If you think because you live in a small town that this is not going to happen, you're a freaking idiot. Because what are a lot of these criminals doing? What are a lot of these freaking pedophiles doing? What are a lot of these people who are career uh, SA offenders? What are they doing? They're moving to smaller towns. Why? Because people have small town mentality. They think that I can just go ahead and walk the streets, or I can let my child go and nothing's going to happen because I live in a small town. We all know each other. Everybody's friendly here. It doesn't matter anymore. This is a new day and age. We keep talking about people, and I hear people talking about these smartphones, this and that, and people, and everything's advanced. We've gotten advanced, but the problem is we've also gotten dumb because we rely on too much stuff, and we just think that stuff like this is not going to happen. This happened back in '95. I can tell you at least 15 stories of things like this that's happened in the last 6 months. So this is not something new, and it's not something old. So if you think you can keep doing this crap with your kids and I pray to God nothing ever happens. I do not work. I don't wish anything like what's going on in this story that happened to this child to ever happen to anybody, to their kids or anybody else that they know and love. I do not want that. But if you seriously think that this is not something that could happen, you're a freaking idiot. I love all you, but you are freaking idiots. Wake up. This is not a better world. It's sure as hell not a better America. It's just stories like this really just send me over the edge. I have 2 daughters and a son, and I got a grandchild. These things run through my mind. I run through every worst case scenario that could ever happen to my kids, and then I prepare myself to do whatever I need to do to protect my kids. Now, if that means I'd have to teach them what I learned in the military, and that's going to help them survive, that's exactly what the heck I'm going to do. So I can guarantee you, if somebody comes to kidnap one of them, they might rethink some life choices. The one I really worry, the one I worry about the least right now, honestly, is my granddaughter, because she's here with me, so she's gonna learn all this stuff. So I really feel sorry for the first boy she ever date, because he ain't got to worry about me. He gonna have to worry about that little fool. So I know I got off my little soapbox there, but I wanted to give Angel a little time, because this is a very personal story to her. So there's gonna be some times in between here where it's gonna be difficult for her. So I wanted to give her that time to try to compose herself, get her thoughts together, so we can continue to talk about the story as much as she possibly can. But I also want to make sure that message got out. Wake the freak up. All right. Angel, before you continue, here's what we're gonna do. We'll start with Ace. Ace, other than Angel, had you ever heard this story before?
No. Had it not been for Angel, I would not have ever known that she had something this personal happen to her. So we thank you for bringing this to us, Angel, and just know that we're here for you. We got you, and I know that it's going to drag up some memories from the past for you, but just know you got Bob right there next to you, and you've got us to lean on. So if that happens, all you got to do is let us know, and we'll take over.
Yeah, 100%. And I, a lot of people, especially people on TikTok, has heard me say this quite a bit. But it's no truer Shane, and Shane knows exactly what I'm talking about. When it comes to this stuff, we got your six. You know what I'm saying? Simply put, we got your back. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care. And Shane and I, we're Army, so we joke a lot with the other services. Joke a lot with the Marines, Air Force, Navy, Tech, Coast Guard. We joke with all of them. But the thing is, at the end of the day, they're still brothers and sisters. I don't care what branch you're in. And I don't just. It's not exclusive to the military when it comes to me. If you're somebody I know, I care about, I extend that. We got your six, so you got to worry about it. Shane, same question to you. Had you heard anything about this story before?
No, that was my first time hearing about it, and I actually didn't have time to look it up until we were about to start the podcast. And honestly, I started reading. It made me sick. It made me mad, and that's my take on it.
I'm right there with you. Heck, you're a little further than me. I didn't get any type of research done on it. I honestly, when I did read a little bit about it, and when I started to, I stopped. Because I'm a lot like you, Shane. I started getting a little mad, a little upset, but I also wanted more of a raw reaction to it. Um, so I wanted to hear Angel, because I know this is a personal story to her. I wanted to hear her, because I knew I was going to get that raw reaction from her, because this is something that she's very personally attached to. And I wanted to be able to give that same type of reaction as well. All right, Angel. First of all, how you doing?
I'm okay. I think I'm a little desensitized to it because of everything that I've read to refresh my memory in the last 24 hours.
And then real quick, I need to respond to Carrie. You are 100% right. That also needs to be applied online too. 100%. Because of where a lot of these kids are meeting these predators and a lot of this stuff is because they have too much access to the internet. Because as parents, we sometimes don't want to actually parent. We just want to sit them down in front of a tablet. We want to give them their freaking phone. We want to sit them down in front of a freaking computer and
Who's
just let them
crying?
go at it. And you don't check on them. You don't find out what they're doing. You don't find out who they're talking to. I remember when I grew up, if I went to go out on a date, or heck, if I just went to go hang out with somebody, my parents was asking who their people was, who they mama and them. You know what I'm saying? All the questions that need to be asked, and they knew almost more about that person than I did before I even stepped out the door. You know what I'm saying? This stuff has got to stop, man. If you keep, I'm getting tired of seeing this crap on the internet. I'm getting tired of hearing stories like this from people that I know of stuff like this happening. And a lot of it could have simply been stopped if we'd just done our job and actually parented. Actually made sure we knew exactly what our kids were doing, knew where our kids where they actually were at. Like I said, this doesn't go for every parent. I know there's a lot of parents out there that are doing the things I'm talking about. But at the same time, you can give your kid freedom, but you can still keep them close at the same time. Right now, we're just giving them freedom because we want our little personal day. I need to take a little break. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I'm so stressed out for being an adult. It's freaking life. I heard Candace Owens said it best. You know, it's life. Get a freaking helmet, man. Like, what the freak you want me to do about it? It is what it is. But this kind of stuff has got to stop. I'm sorry, Angel. Go ahead.
I was dealing with the baby. I'm okay.
Okay.
Okay. So
Now, Angel, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but your camera on the podcast is off.
She knows.
I have to read it
Gotcha.
on the screen.
All right.
So here's the thing, though. Jones, Pell, and Craig. Craig is the boyfriend. Okay. Jones and Powell both did that to her at that point in time. They both did that there. Then Jones turned around to Craig, the boyfriend, and said, do it. You need to do it too. And his take on the story was he was afraid they were going to hurt them. So he dropped his pants and pretended to do it, but didn't actually do it. That comes into play later when we get to the sentencing part of it. The three men, they kicked her. Jones then got into the truck and proceeded to run her over. It's on here, it says 10 to 15 times, but the coroner said it was more like 30. And let me say this. She survived the horrible trauma of the things they were doing to her. She died from blunt force trauma to the head, chest, and abdomen. So they run her over. They pick her up, they put her in the back of the truck, and they take off. While Powell was driving, Craig and Jones noticed that she was moving, and Jones said, "The bitch ain't dead yet." So Powell pulled over, and Jones took her out of the truck. Craig, the boyfriend, they get her out, and they start kicking her. Then they start stabbing her with a screwdriver and the broken bottles that they had used to hurt her before. She's still alive. She's still fighting. And then, because she still wasn't dead yet, Jones threw her back on the ground, got back in the truck, and ran her over approximately another 20 times. The mother says that after this, they assaulted her again after she was gone. And then they threw her in a ditch and left. I remember them calling and asking if we knew where she was, because we didn't have cell phones back then. And we didn't have a house phone either. So they had to call somebody to get somebody to come over and ask us if we'd seen her. We hadn't. And but they found her within 24 hours. I think I remember because the boyfriend snitched. It's like, I know where she's at. He didn't say she was deceased. He just said, I think I know where she's at. So the state charged the boyfriend with murder. I don't know how else to say that. It's not unaliving. Attempted rape, criminal deviant conduct while using deadly force, aiding another person to commit the crime of unaliving, and intentionally unaliving while committing or attempting to commit the crimes of rape and deviant conduct. They all got plea agreements. All of them. Plea agreements. So, Leon Jones, the only one that didn't personally know her beforehand. He got the M word and criminal deviant conduct in the end. And James Powell, the oldest, got criminal deviant conduct and aiding in the M word. And the boyfriend got attempted rape and aiding in her unaliving. Now, I was in law enforcement. I had a badge. I know that when you commit a felony, even if you're just sitting there in the car and it's a burglary or a robbery of a liquor store, you're going to be charged with that felony and you're going to do felony time. But these guys all got plea bargained. The county said they were too poor to do 3 death penalty cases. Not one of them got a death penalty conviction. Not one of them got life in parole or life in prison without the possibility of parole. Not one of them. One is already out. Not only is he out, but I found him on Facebook. He has a child. He works in the public. The Facebook page was created 5 days after he was released, with his name from that city. Pretty sure it's him. He lives less than 45 minutes from me. He was released.
Let me stop you right there real quick, Angel. Okay. You are right. If you are guilty, you're guilty by association if you are with somebody who commits a felony. You were there. You did nothing to prevent it from happening. You are just as guilty as the person that did it. The thing that is bothering me about what you just got through saying is the fact that their county was too poor for 3 death penalty sentences. You know what? That's when you request a change of fucking venue. That's when you send them to another county. I don't give 2 rats' asses what county this happened in. If your precinct cannot afford to execute these fuckers, send them someplace where they can. Because of what they did to that little girl, each one of them deserved the death penalty. I had to censor myself. But for them to use the excuse that they are too poor to be able to follow through with what the verdict should be, to give them a plea agreement on those grounds is bullshit.
The plea agreement,
and that's all I got,
was given because, like, it didn't even go to court. The plea, they started tattling on each other immediately. It was whoever tattles first gets the less time. But what I thought was odd was Jones and Powell were saying that Craig did most of it when it was the other way around. When it, they really, they would, they didn't really do DNA and all that stuff. They were like, well, they all said they were going to do it, so we don't really need to run a DNA panel. Because they all said they did it. So we know all this is from something. But there should have been more charges with more time that stuck. Also, I don't have it pulled up. None of them, including the one that are out. Indiana has an Indiana Schmecks and Violent Offender Registry. It's not just for Schmecks offenders, it's for violent offenders. None of them are on it. Even if you're incarcerated, they're not on it. The guy that's out isn't on it because it was criminal deviant conduct, not raping, not abuse of a corpse, not deviant abuse of a corpse. None of that's on there. Just those two little crimes. My question is this. So for the attempted essay, he got 10 years. And for the aiding of her unaliving, he got 45 years. That's 55 years. Why is he out? Why is he out? You know why he's out? Why is he out? Wasn't at first I thought it was COVID release, but he was released in 18. So that's not why he's out. The other one, the older one,
Hold up, Angel. If they all admitted to essaying her, then how is it attempted essay?
because he says it was attempted. He says it was attempted. That's why.
He said he faked it.
He said he faked it. The other two
But
witnesses
if they
said
didn't
that-
do a DNA panel, they have no way to prove whether he did or didn't. So just because he's 16 and a minor, they're going to take his word for it?
I assume. He said he had ED and he didn't do it.
Wait, he said, okay, he's 16. He said he had ED.
At that moment, he did.
Oh, he
Failure.
said performance anxiety. And well, probably. I mean,
Like, what's going on?
the thing is, it probably was if it happened. Let's say it happened the way he said it happened. Then it's not the fact that he had ED. He was just scared.
Yes.
If it was the way he said it, it was going down, and he didn't want to do it.
I
and
said
he was just
ED because I didn't know
fearful
how
of
else to
going
put
hurt him.
it. Failure to rise. I mean, he said
Well, no,
he
I
didn't
get
do it.
that. I mean, he just wasn't able to get an erection. You can say an erection. It's the medical term, so you can say erection. But if that was the case, then you'll say that you had ED. I mean, at 16, unless you have some serious issues, I don't know a single 16-year-old male who even comes close to having ED.
I mean,
I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying.
I'm guessing because of what was going on, it just wasn't working. So they got it for
that's fine.
attempted. It doesn't matter. It was a deviant act. The other things that they did to her That's still it. That's still SA with the bottle.
Foreign object.
Um,
Wow.
I gotta sneeze. The
Well,
Mr.
while you decide
Jones.
whether or not you have to sneeze, this seems like a good time to take a commercial break.
Sounds good to me.
She turned it off.
Yeah, for a few seconds.
Sneeze.
But yeah. Hmm, I know. Anyways, definitely want to let everybody know, in YouTube land, Twitch, and on TikTok. The Birdman Show is brought to you by Restream. Restream is an awesome way to create a podcast, audio or video. They have amazing editing tools and unmatched community of experts that can help you take your podcast to the next level. So if you want to learn more about the Birdman Show as well as Restream and how to start your own podcast, just simply click the link in our YouTube bio. That'll take you right straight to Restream, and just let them know Birdman sent you. Okay, so let's kind of let's rewind here for a second. So before I go, Shane, so far right now, what are your thoughts on what you've heard so far? Other than I already know you along with Ace are probably feeling the exact same way I'm feeling. But what are your thoughts? Want to hear from you.
I believe that there is a. I'm trying to be careful with how I say this, but I do believe that there's a special place somewhere for people like that,
Mm,
and they should. Here, here's my thing: the way that you unalive somebody and the stuff that you do to them, you should get the same exact same thing done to you, the exact same thing. And the fact that it took 3 cowards to do that, I'm not even gonna say anymore because I'm just not gonna say anymore.
Look, I'm with you. I'm with you. Ace.
I'm right there with you. For them to plea out the way that they did, and Carrie said it best over here on YouTube. Said if it was a plead out, if it was pled out, the charges were probably reduced so the defendants would take the deal. The fucked up thing about that is, what did they do? They essayed a child. They physically assaulted a child. They did unspeakable things to this 15-year-old, and they're trying to reduce the charges to the point where they'll accept the plea. Fuck the defendants. You're not there to hold their damn hand to make sure that you can settle something because you can't afford to do the right thing, down to the point where they finally accept it. You know, it's cases like this that make you question the judicial system. When, like you said, Shane, when 3 cowards get away with everything they did to her and then finally unaliving her, and only basically get a slap on the hand. That is, like Carrie said, gross negligence. And I'm done.
Here's my thing on it too. You want to claim that you don't have money to do something about it? Okay, well let that have been their daughter or one of their family members. Then I guarantee you it would have changed. But that just goes to show you that they don't give a rat's ass if it happens to somebody else.
And my take
Wait,
on this, we're talking purely. What you say?
it gets better.
Oh, I'm sure it does. I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna move on to the what you're about to bring up. Um, it's cases like this, and I'm glad we have this ability to do this forum. Whether it's TikTok, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Twitch, we have this ability to do this because I guarantee you, for the most part, just like people like myself, Ace, and Shane, who'd never heard of this. This is something that is bringing light to an event that happened that is very similar, if not the exact same type of events that are going on now. And people are like, I can't believe that this is going on. It's been going on. When we're talking about the judicial system sucks. I'm speaking as a black man, and I can tell you 100% it sucks. Okay. But it doesn't just suck for black people. Okay. It sucks for everybody, especially if you're someone who doesn't have money. The vast majority of us fit in that category. And then there's a lot of times where stuff like this goes on where I'm pretty sure the prosecutor was like, well, we did get justice because they did, they pled guilty to that. No, you did not. This is not a win. This is not a win in any. I don't care how you try to wrap that up and put a little bow on it and stick it on the Christmas tree and
Is
saying
that me?
Christmas carols.
Whose
It doesn't
battery
matter.
flow?
Probably you.
Did me?
But this is not justice. I mean, for the simple fact, and you said one of them's out. The simple
One is
fact that one
out.
of them's out, that just blows my mind. We did it. Ace and I and Big Sam did a case, season 2 on the basically it was 44 Days of Hell, of a young Japanese woman named Juniko, um, and the things that they did to that child, and then to find out that the guys didn't really even get any type of jail time. They're all out. Well, one is in prison, but he's in prison for something completely different now. He might be out now if he's still alive. But the thing is that I can see things like that happen over there in countries like this. This isn't. I don't understand for the life of me why anybody would think this is okay. And somebody might say, "Well, I know the judge and the prosecutor didn't think you think it's okay if you give them such a light sentence and then allow them a possibility of seeing the light of day outside of prison. You're saying it's okay to even offer a plea deal. What did you need a plea deal for? They were telling on each other. Like what was the plea deal for? Which I'm pretty sure we're about to get into. But at this point in time, I don't understand why you need a plea deal if they're all telling on each other. And if you're actually doing your job as an investigator, as a detective, as a prosecutor office, and making sure you're getting those DNA samples, making sure you're getting all your ducks in a row, so that way you can take it to court and be a slam dunk, because they've already told on each other. What is the freaking plea deal for? Why are they not underneath the jail? You didn't have enough money to deal with it? You could have sent them to me. I'd have done it for you for free. Okay. Angel, you said it gets better. I know it was very sarcastically. But why don't you tell us what happens next? Money.
I 150% believe that if he hadn't have started it, nothing would have happened. I believe that. But
And who's this we're talking about?
Jones, the gentleman that came down from Detroit, the wannabe
Okay.
gangbanger.
Okay.
Okay, so the state charged the defendant, or just talking about him, okay, with the unaliving, the rape while using deadly force, and criminal deviant conduct resulting in serious bodily injury. The state also sought 2 separate sentences of life imprisonment without parole. The defendant pled guilty to the unaliving and the criminal deviant conduct pursuant to the plea agreement. Why? He'd already pled guilty. The state dismissed the rape and request for sentences of life without parole. At the time this crime was committed, a unaliving offense carried a presumptive 55-year sentence with not more than 10 years added for aggravating circumstances and not more than 10 years subtracted for mitigating circumstances. Criminal deviant conduct resulting in serious bodily injury, a Class A felony, carried a presumption sentence of 30 years with not more than 20 years added for aggravating circumstances and not less than 10 years subtracted for mitigating. After the sentencing hearing, the trial court concluded that given the nature and circumstances of the crime, the defendant was to serve a maximum sentence of 65 years for the unaliving and 30 years for the criminal deviant conduct. The court further ordered these sentences to be served consecutively, and that's when his people came back and said that the trial court improperly and inconsistently enhanced one sentence over the other and improperly imposed consecutive sentences. He asserted his sentences manifested unreasonable in light of the nature of the offenses and the character of the offender. They said that when you enhance something, you've got to identify the significant aggravation and mitigating circumstances and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it says they had to take into consideration at the sentencing hearing that the court identified 8 aggravating circumstances. The victim's death was apparently slow, painful, and torturous. Defendant had a history of criminal activity as a juvenile, and although no criminal convictions as an adult, there was evidence of criminal activity. The defendant was placed in a residential treatment detention as a juvenile, but was a runaway from said treatment center. And the trial court's observation at the hearing, defendant displayed a complete lack of remorse for the death of his victim. The defendant had no significant work history and had failed to support his one defendant. The defendant appeared to have no family support system from his family or his peers. A defendant was in a position to withdraw from the criminal activity and even prevent the crimes from occurring, but had failed to do so. But he had committed a crime as an adult. He pled guilty, and he didn't have a normal childhood and came from a dysfunctional family. That's what they took into consideration.
That's crock
Um,
shit.
it says that um, they said that the it was not a sentence that was improper, inconsistent, and was not unreasonable. But they sure did go ahead and lower his time because, are you ready? It says the defendant asserted that they didn't take everything into consideration, that they failed to consider that he spent time in a psychiatric institution, that he feels that he's mentally ill, but he can function in society and understands and accepts his mental illness. The defendant's environment in which he grew up included whipping with extension cords, coats, hangers, and belts.
Hey, I'm
And
okay. I'm stopping you right there. I'm gonna
they
stop you
took
right
all
there.
this into consideration.
Wait. I'm gonna stop you right there. Let me tell you something. I'm 46 years old. I'll be 47. Yeah, 46 years old. And my time growing up, this is my generation. I don't know if I can name one black kid that grew up that didn't get beat with an extension cord, a hanger, a broom, a frying pan in some cases,
A wooden
spatula.
spoon. A
Let me
spoon.
say something. I don't care. I get it. I truly get it. I really do. But this idea, and I want everybody to really understand what I'm about to say. This idea, I understand mental illness is a part of life. Trust me, I deal with it. Okay. One thing I don't do is make an excuse. I will never use my mental illness as an excuse for anything. Not my behavior, not my actions, not for anything I do. The problem where this has become a problem is because, and I'm gonna tell you exactly where it started. I'm gonna tell you exactly the moment it started. When it started with participation trophies. Now I know it sounds funny, but the idea that you don't have to really try to do anything and you can still win. You can be accepted for anything without trying. This is something that has been sickening this world for the last few decades. And the thing is, we think about it, we think about it and we say, well, everybody should have that opportunity. Yes, we all have that opportunity. And I know I can count. I can't count on my hands, my toes. I can't the four people that are in in these boxes. I can't count on your guys' hands as well or your toes. How many people I know that have been in similar situations as these young men or that young man they're talking about, but they've still gone on because they said they wanted to be better. You have two choices in your life. You have a choice to be a victim, or you have a choice to rise above it and be something better. I am sick and tired of hearing all these stupid excuses. And I am sick and tired of people out here in the world who are accepting these stupid excuses. I'm tired of it. Call a spade a spade. You're messed up in the head. You're messed up in the head. You know what? Let's go get you some help. Oh, you don't want help? You don't want that help? You don't want to deal with that help? Okay. You know what? Then we need to do something else with you. We're not going to just sit there every time you do something stupid, say, well, look, little Jimmy, he's just got a little problem. Little Susan, she's just got a little. No, Susan is messed up. Jimmy is messed up. I can accept that. But what I cannot accept is when we let stuff like this go on for so long and then that becomes this story. because I guarantee, and she's already said, Angel's already said it. Had problems, has had problems in youth. They tried to lock him up, ran away. They said, well, he didn't get into, he had violent tendencies as a youth. Violent ten. You know what a tendency is? Can anybody give me the definition what a tendency is? Are you muted?
I said a tendency is the thing that you think that you want to do before your mama whoops your ass.
What? What?
You know, you think you want to do something, then your mama beats your ass, and you don't have that tendency no more.
No. What is the definition of a tendency?
Huh? Bad tendencies?
A
I
tendency
got my
in general.
ass whooped.
Go ahead, Ace.
It's a
Right. A tendency is an impulse. It's an impulse to act upon a thought. Doesn't mean that you do. It just means that you want to.
Now, what happens when you have too many tendencies? They become habits. Reality. And what happens, and I'm gonna say, I don't know I don't know, nor do I really care anymore about the guys that are involved in this, their background, their story. I don't really care about their lives. I just don't. But what I see and what I've seen when I worked in the school system, I see a lot of these kids that have tendencies and they have certain traits to them. And the thing I know, especially from serving in the military and from coaching basketball, if you let that stuff go too long, they reach a point of no return. When you let a child do certain stuff for so long and they go unchecked, you have effectively lost that person. Now, I am not here to say that they can't find their way back. I know plenty of people that have. Saying God bless their heart, their soul, everything about them. I understand that. Thank you, Carrie. I know plenty of people that you can make a mistake. You can do something bad. I know people that have been to prison for unaliving somebody, and because circumstances, they were able to get out. They rehabilitated themselves, and they've gone on to live productive lives. They have to live with that for the rest of their life because they took somebody else's life. They're no longer here. They're still here. They got to live with that for the rest of their life. And I know people who've done that. Am I okay with it? But at the same time, I do believe everybody deserves a chance. But what I'm hearing from this story is that a young man was given chance after chance and went unchecked. And because of that, he was allowed to come from Detroit down to Kentucky, right? Indiana, and commit this heinous crime. And then got his two cronies to go along with him. One, and I know everybody's heard this, one bad apple can spoil the bunch. That was one bad apple that effectively ruined 3 lives. His life was already ruined. Let's just put that out there. His life was already ruined. His life was already a piece of crap, piece of garbage anyway. But he just effectively ruined 3 lives. Took a life and then ruined the other 2. I'm talking about that were involved in that day. And then and thank you for saying that, the ripple effect. Because now it goes out. Now that girl's family, all the girl's friends, all the people that girl loved and loved her, lives forever changed. The other 2 boys, their families who love them, and they a lot like a lot of us say, "Oh my God, if I just kept my child away from this crowd, da da da." Well, I get it. Too late. Nothing you can do now. And then for the idiot that sparked this all off, man, I just thank you, Carrie, for finding that definition for me. And I'm leaving it up. I've been leaving it up there for a reason.
So Carrie said that usually the family has to sign up on a, they didn't ask them anything. They didn't ask them anything. The mom, the grandma, any of the family, they didn't ask anything. They didn't ask them their opinion, any of it. So here's my question. I'm just gonna go off the one that's been released, okay? In 99, he was sentenced to 55 years. Okay. Why? How did he get out?
2018.
He got out 36 years early. How? How? This was before COVID. So even with good behavior, they knocked 36 years off his sentence. I don't get it.
You want me to answer that? I can answer it for you. Because here's the problem, man. I'm leaving that up there for a while. So I want what I said and what I was asking people. I wanted to start sinking in. If you start thinking about people you know, maybe it's one of your own kids. Understand that characteristics or type of behavior. That understand what you're putting out in society. Understand that. Understand the type of people they're going to meet. Your children are going to meet when they leave your house. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now, to answer your question, Angel, I don't know why.
That's because of my headphones died.
Is your phone up? Is your phone on TikTok up?
Because I can't hear if it's not up.
And you don't need to hear TikTok. What you're
I
saying
can't
on the
hear-
podcast is going to be the same thing you're saying on TikTok.
I can't hear it on the podcast. Hang on.
So then turn the podcast down.
The podcast isn't even on.
Well, anyway,
It's off.
what a lot of what we see with a lot of unfortunate cases like this is that we run into this issue of prison overpopulation. So a lot of times they're releasing people from jail. And they release them because maybe he's been a model citizen or model prison inmate. Maybe he's been model. Maybe he said, "Hey, we'll let him go. He's okay, blah blah blah, whatever." My problem with that thinking when it comes to releasing people back into the general public after especially heinous crimes and stuff like this. First of all, there's so many people that are on death row that are still on death row, but they haven't done anything with. This is my like. If you're gonna put them on death row, I understand they have appeals. I don't know. I'm not well versed into the judicial system when it comes to that. Maybe Angel can fill some of that stuff in, or anybody else out there that knows more about this than I do. I don't know what the time frame for those appeals. I don't know how many appeals they get. But I would say, hey, I'm just going to do. You get 3 appeals, and we'll do them. You can do 1 appeal, 1 every 2 years, something like that. Whatever. Once your appeals are done, guess what? You're now put on the next slate docket for you to be sent on your merry way and see you down in Hades, wherever you're on. But I just think that a lot of this stuff is going on is that our taxpayers are paying money for people who are still in prison that shouldn't even still be having a bed in prison or getting meals in prison. They should have been gone 20 years ago. You want to stop this overpopulation? Hey, start digging graves. That's what I'm saying. If you don't put him on death row, put him on death row. Give him an expiration date. And once that date hits, treat him like spoiled milk. This case is really it's really got me working overtime here. Carrie said he was he a juvenile when he went in? No, not the oldest one, not the one that initiated all this. No, he was what, 24?
The one that she's talking about right now.
Are you talking about the 21-year-old that got out? Or are you
I
talking
had to turn it up. Leon Jones, the one that did who instigated it, he was 21.
Okay.
The guy that's already out was a juvenile.
Okay, so the
He was a
juvenile's out. Okay. So he's out. I mean, that makes. I'll be honest with you. Even though I hate saying it, that does make more sense because didn't he get a lesser charge? So that would make more sense that he's out. Even though, I mean, no, it doesn't make any sense that he's out. But the reason why he is out. So okay, I can get that.
He was still sentenced to
He was still
55
in,
years.
right? Jeremy, what's up, baby? My nephew right there. Playboy Junior.
So Kelly Craig will be out. Kelly Craig is out. James Powell, who got 75 years, will be out in May of 2031.
See, I
And
know I
Leon
can always turn to
Jones,
Carrie to give me information whenever she's on here. But yeah, Carrie and I, we joke a lot, and everybody thinks we get on each other's nerves. I actually really do get on each other's nerves. But that's my sis, and I love and appreciate her. But yeah, she's always great for
I didn't
feeding
know I was
me
muted.
this information whenever it pops up. But this is, she said, they're only allowed so many appeals at the state level. Then they are allowed one or two more once it hits federal level. And each one lasts multiple years. So yeah, I mean that's always great information to have. I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just want to make sure we were able to comment on that. What were you saying now, Angel?
Because of the plea agreements, they didn't appeal their sentences. They just tried to go in and revamp what they said they did. They're like, oh no, I didn't say that. I didn't actually do the graping because I couldn't actually perform. So you can't charge me with graping. You can charge me with attempted graping. But he pled guilty to graping.
Wait. So they weren't trying to appeal their sentences, just what they were changing what they were saying,
They're trying to say,
which would appeal their sentence.
right, it would have made it a
Lesser charge.
a lesser charge. Not much, but it wouldn't have been
Because one got life
a
without
mitigating.
right?
No,
I thought you said one of them got life without possibility of parole.
no, none of them did. They will all see the light of day. They will all see the light of day again.
So what was remind me what the sentences were again?
The boyfriend was saying you can't because he signed the plea agreement for graping, but he said I didn't do that. I attempted it, so you can't charge me with that. So they had to tweak it. So the boyfriend ended up with attempted grape, got 10 years for that, and then aiding and unaliving 45 years in 1999, but he's out.
And that was the youngest one, right?
That was the 16.
Okay.
The next one was boyfriend's friend. He was 24. 24-year-old don't even hang around no 16-year-old. That's besides the point.
There's that.
He's in Newcastle Correctional Facility. He's set to be released in May of 2031, and he was charged with criminal deviant conduct and aiding in an unaliving. He was sentenced to 75 years.
And he'll get out in 2031. Set to
Yes.
get out in 2031.
And then Mr. Jones, the one that instigated everything, he is at the Newcastle Psychiatric Unit. So evidently he's done some things since he's been inside. He got 65 years. You know what? He's in the psychiatric part. He's probably in isolation.
I'm talking about before that.
We can only hope. But again, he probably liked it. But he got 65 years for the unaliving and 30 years for criminal deviant conduct. He is set to be released in July of 2043. He will still have a life. Not much of one.
Now I want to point this out, Carrie. Like I said, once again, appreciate you. And her comment was, he was released because he was under plea deal as a minor, or I'm sorry, juvenile. 99% of parole boards will not hold a man past age of 25 ish if he committed an offense as a minor and was sentenced as a minor. But did they sentence him as a minor? Did you say that? I can't remember.
He was 16 when it happened, and
I'm assuming they did.
No, he was an adult by the time they sentenced him.
But the offense happened when he was a minor.
Yes, he was 16.
So even though even though they may have they didn't go to court or they didn't never until after he was 18. The offense, they still have to go by the offense. They can't just say, we're going to hold you for 2 years and now we're going to try you as an adult. So, okay, that makes more sense.
I can't remember if they tried him as an adult. I want to say they tried him as an adult.
Yeah.
Well, for what he got charged with and what he ended up getting sentenced with, I can't imagine they tried him as an adult, because I mean, those are, well, I don't know. I don't know I don't know. Does it say anywhere that they charged him as adult?
No.
Okay. I just don't know if I
remember if they did.
That explanation Carrie gave. I don't know if they did. I don't know. I think maybe they charged him. Maybe they did.
He only did 19 years.
Okay, hold on. If he was 17
he did
older,
19 years.
What?
He did 19 years.
Uh-huh.
Plus he was 16. So that made him 35 when he got out.
So I just have a real problem when it comes to stuff like
I have
this,
a real problem that he's not on.
Not to allow somebody to have a life after taking
I have
life.
a real problem that I live in a state where he's not on the violent offenders registry at the bare minimum. That he's not on the violent offenders registry. That he isn't on the sex offenders registry, and that because she was a minor. He was a minor, she was a minor. It's still what it is. He works in a public job. He's not on any registry list. He can live within so many 100 feet of a school. He has a child. He's married. He got to.
Was I wrong in hearing that you didn't tell us what he does or anything like that? But did you?
No,
was I wrong in hearing you said that he had a public office?
No, he works in the public. He could come. What he does for a living, he could come to your house, come to my house, and do what he does. Nobody would know.
I mean, he could. I mean, people could just.
He's a contractor.
What I'm saying is, he could if someone just releases the information. I mean, I don't know how many. I don't understand. I see this all the time. I don't understand why. Somebody's not. You go down and say, "Hey, I didn't know you allowed
I did look for the
such and such type
company.
people to work."
I did look for the company online. I could not find it because her brother released online last year who he was, where he works at, and all that stuff. That company, I could not find it online. A year later, I couldn't find it.
I mean, the thing is, you're not doing it. You're not doing anything wrong because it's public record.
Well,
You know
because
what
I
I'm
was going to
saying?
go onto their page and say something, but it's not there anymore. Like, there's
I
no
see why.
web
Enough people
address.
found out.
I'm sure they did.
Okay. All right. I need to hear. We need to hear from our other two co-hosts here. Shane, how you holding up?
I'm feeling more mad than I was earlier. Um,
Join the club.
I mean, just think about it. He's out there in the public. He's just going about his day like nothing ever happened. I mean, he was allowed to have a child. I mean, there there's standards and there's rules out in the streets, and he's breaking every single code of conduct, and not a single thing's being done about it.
No, and I want to for YouTube and Twitch. I need to point out a comment that was just made on TikTok. Bob made this comment. He said right, but with him not what's that? Oh, on. With him not on any list, the public don't know who they are bringing home. Like that is unbelievably valid point. The fact that he's not on any type of list, I'm pretty sure that the way this is sounding, I'm pretty sure they probably don't even have him. He doesn't even have to say that he was a convicted of any crimes or whatever. And so therefore he's able to fill out an application like any other person. That we'll just all agree the judicial system, if you can call it that, is a joke and extremely broken on all levels. I'm not, and understand what I'm saying. Just like the whole, bad cops in America and all over the world, whatever. There are good ones and there are bad ones. Unfortunately, when it comes to a case like this, we are 100%. I'm seeing bad from the investigators to the prosecutors to the DA to the judge. All bad. Not one of you don't get Fs. You just get expelled from this school. Like all 100% bad. And like I said, I do get tired of hearing people. And like I said, the example was like cops. I do get tired of people talking about, oh my God, cops are corrupt. This is that. No, they're not. They are just the ones that are bad. They are regular people like you and I. I guarantee you, they were complete idiots before they put that uniform on. And just because they put that uniform on doesn't change a thing. Shane and I dealt with it when we were in the military. I can attest. When I put my uniform on, I'm not going to speak for Shane, but when I put my uniform on, when I put that uniform on for the first time, my whole reality changed. My whole view of the world changed. I started carrying myself differently, even when I took the uniform off. Once I became a United States Army soldier, I became a different person. Why? Because each one of you are out there watching. The three people in here, even though Shane was one of the ones that served with me, even though my job was to protect all of you, to keep those idiots at bay, to make sure that the idiots that are violating our rights, even the, and I know Karen's in here. Karen, it's not for you because you're not a Karen. Those Karens out there and those privileged, entitled idiots that are out there doing all this crap. My job, Shane's job, all the people who serve, the law enforcement, our job is to protect you idiots. Love y'all. But my job is to protect you idiots. But see, that's the difference. I was that type of person before I ever put that uniform on. The uniform doesn't make the man or woman. The man or woman makes that uniform. They turn it into something either really great or just magnifies the stupidity that they already had in them. Ace, how are you feeling right now?
First thing I want to bring up is the fact that Angel said that he was a contractor and that he could show up at your house if you hire him to do a job. Now, I can attest to one thing. If I knew who he was and he showed up to my house to do a job, the contract would be fulfilled. Just leaving it at that. But I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I had some stuff to say and somebody got on the soapbox and I didn't get a chance to put my 2 cents in.
That's what happens when your name's on the podcast.
But what I was going to say earlier, whenever it was brought up about Jones and everything that he went through as a child, everything that he got beat with was probably the closest thing that his mama or daddy could grab, because that's how it was for me. I've had shoes thrown at me. I've been hit with a fly swatter, wooden spoons. I mean, you name it. If it's a hairbrush,
A switch.
yeah, oh hell yeah. But
Hey man, my grandma threw one of my cousins at me one time. I'm playing. No, she did.
but the thing of it is being disciplined as a child does not make you grow up to be a bad person. And granted, anything that happened as a juvenile is supposed to be kept as a juvenile. Them bringing what happened to him as a juvenile into this case to show presence of mind should have been inadmissible. The fact that he had charges brought against him as an adult before this happened should have been brought up as evidence. The one thing that's really grinding my gears is the fact that they're using him being in a mental institute as basis for him not being in his right mind. 2 things. Number one, he wasn't going for a fucking insanity plea. So why does anything that he did before that day have anything to do with this case? Was he in his right mind? No. Was it something that they were trying to convince people that he wasn't in his right mind when he did this? No. Number 2, for him to sit there and make the statement whatever. For him to make the statement in the car while they were driving to the 24-year-old that when they get to where they're going, that he was going to SA Shannon, that's premeditated. He already planned on doing this. When they picked her up, he planned on doing this. That's one thing that they didn't take into account. It was premeditated. Whether they can afford it or not, premeditated SA with the intent to unalive doesn't get a fucking plea deal. I'm sorry, but no.
Look. My thing is, Ace. I'm right there with you. Okay, I'm right there with you. And I'm gonna be honest. I had to throw that joke in about my grandma, mainly because I needed to break the tension for myself. But I'm right there with you. This is not like this was a case where they found her and no one knew what happened, and they had to do it at a full on investigation. They had to send a search party out. They had to go. Then they find her, and then all of a sudden, now they're trying to piece together. They didn't have to do any of the work. These idiots started to, like they say, spill the tea. They started telling everything. They laid the whole freaking thing out. So it's not like you had to really do any of the work. All you had to do is do your job. Carrie also want to add this. Mitigating factors include, but is not limited to, mental or physical illness, past circumstances such as abuse, plus 7 more. Sure. No. So that's what I thought I was saying. Anyway. But I no, I'm right there with you.
I don't care what they
Especially once he said, "Yeah, I already plan on doing this." It's right. I'm right there with Ace. It was premeditated. What were we gonna say, Angel?
I don't care what happened to them as a child. I don't care. People know what's right and wrong. And taking a child that looks, and you're not talking about a 15-year-old nowadays with a full face of makeup and hair and whatever, who appeared to look older than what she is. She didn't look to be 15. She didn't. And they didn't just essay her. They did it with bottles and screwdrivers. And then they beat her. And then they stabbed her. And then they ran over her. She fought for a really long time. For her little body couldn't take anymore. She survived all that. And until he decided to run her over for the second time for 20 times, that's when it crushed her. That's evil. They shouldn't have gotten parole of any kind. None of them. Because if you're going to go along, if your friends jump off a bridge or you're going to jump off a bridge too, ever-fucking-dently. They're all fucking evil. They're all evil. They fucked up. They took her life. They destroyed her mother and her brother and her grandmother and her uncle. Didn't get out of a bottle for I don't know how long. And they ruined their family's lives too. So, yeah. I mean, she's a good kid. She doesn't deserve any of this. And that he's already out living his life, having his own family. It's not fair. I don't think you can be rehabilitated from evil. I don't think you can.
No. And let's make this clear. It was the 16-year-old who is the current boyfriend that is out.
They had just split up. It had not been very long at all. Like
Okay, so
a week maybe.
okay.
Like they were still talking. This was before cell phones. If I'm not mistaken, he was staying at her house.
Okay. Carrie also added, and please understand, I do not agree with any of these laws and factors. I believe the entire system needs to be revamped. It's completely shattered, broken, not fixable. No, I don't. I mean, I do appreciate you saying that, Carrie. I just took it as you're just giving us information. I'm pretty sure that's how our audience was taking it as well.
So
So I mean, I do appreciate you at least saying that. But I don't think anybody took it that way. Um,
one more thing. I live in this state still. The fact that you can't find their images on the registry is beyond shocking. That you can't, even in Kentucky, if you look up somebody's record, there's a picture of them. They don't have pictures on their website. You can't look and say, that's that guy. So I know what he looks like. And that's to protect them, not to protect their victims.
all right, look, this is what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up. Um, this one was seriously mentally draining. I'm not even gonna lie. Because even the whole time, even while I was talking, my mind was racing all over the place. So I can only imagine how everybody else was on the show, as well as those listening and watching us. Um, so let's start with you, Shane. What are your closing thoughts, comments?
Um, I hope that whoever comes across him has a good relationship with a baseball bat and a pair of pliers to do some dentistry. And I'm not gonna mention any of the other stuff, but use your imagination.
Any pointers or tips? Give me a call. Ace.
Right on.
My heart goes out to her family because I know, no, I don't know. I can imagine what they went through losing their daughter, losing their niece, sister, if she had siblings. I mean, just losing a loved one. I can imagine what they went through, especially in the way that they lost her. And to get the verdict that the cowards of Indiana got, that was probably a severe slap in the face to the family. Knowing that they lost someone that can't be replaced. And the people that did it to her are going to have the opportunity to finish living their lives because the county that they live in was too poor to execute them.
Um, First of all, I want to thank everybody. That was here on the show. Angel, thank you very much. And it's saying that. Do you have any closing remarks?
Nope. Don't have anything else to say.
Okay. Um, this is a case that like I stated before at the very beginning. Is a case that is, if you didn't know, if we never gave you the actual year this happened, which was back in '95, if you hadn't known that, you would think this was something that happened recently, because there's countless stories like this that are going on today. They don't think just because, oh, this happened back in '95. Yeah, well, open up your social media, go on the internet, on the internet, and I guarantee you'll probably hear or see countless stories that are very eerily similar, and in some cases even worse than what happened to this young lady. I'm serious. Everybody, wake up. If you're a parent, wake up, because you got to remember, not every child has a good background. Not every child has a good role model. Like they try to use in this stupid case when it came to that with that dude with his childhood. Understand, not everybody has that ability to have somebody in their life that's going to really steer them on the right path. Some of those kids are like some of us adults. They're just living and trying to figure it out. It's worse at that age, because without proper guidance, that's Russian roulette. You were playing Russian roulette. This is something that should never have happened. I definitely feel for that family. Angel, who personally knew this young lady, like she stated before, she babysit for their family. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you, you can't get too much closer to somebody that's not family to you than somebody who comes over and watches your kids while you're gone or while you have to do something. They build that relationship with your kids. They build that relationship with you. So, what my heart definitely goes out to you. Like I said, we got you six. Um, but seriously, just wake up, for crying out loud, and stop thinking that just because this stuff is stuff that happens on the internet or in the movies or something like that, or these are just stories that we're telling you guys. Um, Stop thinking that there's no possible way it could happen to you or your children or somebody you know and care about. Just stop. Like I said, if that's how you feel, if that's your way of thinking, you are a complete and utter idiot. I'm just gonna be honest with you, because this could 100% happen anywhere at any time to anyone. So the only thing I can tell you is just be careful. Be careful and be smarter. Be more mindful about what your kids are doing on the internet. Be more mindful about who your kids are hanging around with. Be more mindful about who you're hanging around with, because a lot of times we're bringing people into our homes, into our lives, and introducing our kids to these people that end up taking their lives. Be more mindful. I don't care if it's family. If you don't trust them, why the heck you leaving your kids around? Why are you allowing your kids to be around? That's another story for another time. Um, just want to say, we will be we're gonna do a recap tomorrow. Um, I don't know how much of this topic we'll actually recap. Heck, we might just get together and just have 2 hours of just BSing, talking about whatever, talking about what's coming up. Maybe get some more new ideas about this episode. Maybe we'll do that, because I don't know if I want to do a recap on this. So but I'll tell you what. Um, even though it's my show and my co-hosts are freaking phenomenal, I will 100% concede that decision to Angel. She's already shaking her head no. What'd you say? What?
She's saying you don't ever let her be in charge.
I'll let you in charge of that decision.
No, I said
Your volume's not.
now. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I said, ask Shane if I can be in charge tomorrow night. Not on this topic. Not on this topic.
No, you cannot be in charge of the recap now. Just on the topic. Hell no. But no. So we'll do a recap, but it just won't be on tonight's episode. I think tonight's was. I think that was enough. So, but like I said, okay, so I got somebody asking me for TikTok and I took it for Twitch and YouTube. I got somebody looking to ask me a question. Women are the what? Well, it's not even in the question form.
Are women the boss? No.
Oh, is this an inside joke? I mean, did this come from one of the lives that I wasn't in?
I think she lost her signal.
Okay. Well, if she comes back in, we'll yeah, okay. But so yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. A person in a uniform.
If you're going to ask the question you asked earlier, Pokey, about how somebody puts a uniform on and it changes them, what he said was it depends on the person on whether it changes them for the better or if it intensifies the stupidity that they already have. So if you know somebody that was in the Marines that put on the uniform that it didn't change them for the better, that's because they were just doing it for the glory.
Mhm.
They weren't doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, 100%. That's 100%. And that's sad to me, because I think those uniforms, no matter what the uniform is, truly means something. And to me, it means not about what I'm doing or what I did. It means that I'm carrying on what the men and women did before me. And the ones that they sacrificed themselves, and I'm fighting for their families as well. That's how I viewed it whenever I put my uniform on. And because I viewed it that way, even when I took that uniform off, in my mind, I still had the uniform on. So that's hopefully that clears that up or answers your question. Um, and it is. And Pokey, for those who are on YouTube and Twitch, Pokey had said on TikTok, it's kind of scary because I've got people still comment. So, yeah. I have never been with someone who's been in the Army or Marines. And I'm assuming she said I wanted to know. Listen, it is very scary. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. It's the same thing with law enforcement, with firefighters, um, first responders, anything. If they're in any type of you know position, a job title where they're putting themselves out there, it is scary for the families. And my heart always goes out to the families when they have to go through that every single time, something like that happens. So it is scary. I definitely wish you the best of luck with that. If you do have any other questions like that or anything like that, you can always ask me. So that's more than fine. But like I said, we'll be here tomorrow over on TikTok. So TikTok, you guys are there, stay there. Come back and see us tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, Come on over. I know. Don't try to tell me you ain't got TikTok because you're lying. All right. Get your ass on over there. Come see us on TikTok. It's Birdman. Is it Birdman show? 216. Yeah. Just just look up on Birdman show 216. And come join us tomorrow 6 p.m. Central Time. Oh, it's just Birdman show. Sorry, it's Birdman show. I don't remember my own freaking. I don't know. I just pull it up. It's just, whatever. Anyways, just come see us.
It's just Birdman.
Oh, it's Birdman 216. I thought I had it. No, that was that other one. Oh yeah, so it's Birdman. Just come see me. Just come see Birdman 216. For crying out loud. Just keep looking until you see the Birdman symbol. Anyways, we'll be there tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Don't forget we'll be back here next week, 6 p.m. Central Time. I believe we're doing a You Be the Judge. We will be doing a You Be the Judge with the lovely and very opinionated Carrie, aka Fury Star. I say that out of 100% love because I'm very opinionated too. That's why I respect you. But she will be with us tomorrow doing a You Be the Judge episode. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I'm not even kidding. If you haven't seen one of those episodes, they are so much fun. Because I just get to sit there and listen to her tell us this, run through this case, and I'm just like, it's like almost like I'm watching ID, um, or Law and Order SUV or something like that, and just listening to all these factors coming in, and then we have to try to make a decision at the end of the episode. Because myself, Ace, Shane are the judges, and you as the audience member, you get to play the jury. So it's a lot of fun. I love it. I'm so appreciative of her for bringing that to us. But like I said, we'll be back next week for that. And then of course the Birdman show recap next Thursday as well. We're still trying to get Ace set up, get him a little setup going. And I'm pretty sure when he's ready to go, he will start back up with trivia. But until then, like I said, we definitely want to thank everybody for joining us on this episode of I don't know what just happened to my sorry, my computer screen started doing something weird. But anyways, definitely want to thank everybody for joining us on this episode of the Birdman Show. Angel, now you got something? Hold on. What? Would you unmute yourself? You just need yourself on TikTok.
I said, do I have to stay around on there after you close down the window?
No, this is not like Riverside. So once we stop the live, it's already uploaded because it's going live. So it's already uploaded. I don't have to worry about doing all that other extra stuff. So that's another huge reason why I love this platform. But yeah, so as I was saying, we want to thank you all for definitely coming by and spending this time with us. Like I said, please make sure we're being more careful, be more mindful. You guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will see you guys next time on the Birdman Show. Do it with me one last time. That is right. We'll see y'all later. Have a good one.